No Gina?
No Gina. So, by the way, Colin, I just lost you guys for the last.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock on July 6th, 2020. Let me reposition. So we got the, there we go. We got the flag and we've got the Bedminster deal right there. So I hope everyone had a great 4th of July celebrating American independence. And we will proceed with the Township Committee meeting. Committeewoman Fernandez is not available. She has an excused absence. Today was supposed to be the 8th grade graduation, which got canceled at the last minute, but Gina had already made family plans, and so she is excused. Ms. Sullivan, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, sir. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville and to the Burnasville News in Whippany, sent out to all subscribers, and then posted here at the municipal building as of January 16th, 2020.
Great. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you don't have a flag, there's one right over here. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sure, me too.
Okay, we have 2 meeting minutes to approve. That's the June 15, 2020 regular Township Committee meeting via Zoom and the closed session via Zoom as well. Are there any comments to the meeting minutes that have not?
Uh-oh.
I did get a correction from the mayor to the minutes under new business. His comment was that when we discussed the townwide special use permits for businesses, we talked about potential lighting if it didn't impact neighboring properties, but my last sentence in the minutes said that outdoor heaters are not permitted, and he did not remember that being true. So we were going to eliminate outdoor heaters not being permitted.
My recollection as well.
Okay, thank you.
So apparently this is my 3rd time getting knocked off of our Wi-Fi, although apparently, Colin, I still have a strong signal. So getting bounced off for something else? Maybe. Okay, so did we have a motion to approve the
We
minutes?
need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we have permits and raffles. We have 1 social fair permit for St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center on September 8, 2020 at Hamilton Farms Golf Club, 1040 Pottersville Road, from 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Any questions or comments regarding that permit? Seeing none, may we motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Public comments. We have 1 public comment session, and that is now. So Ms. Sullivan, please see if any member of the public has
Only
comment.
members of the public are Charlie Zavalik and Jake Perry from the Burnasville News. No other members of the public.
Okay,
And
if
I
no-
don't see any comments from either of them.
Okay, we will proceed on to monthly report discussion by subcommittee chair, Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. On DPW, just wanted to touch base with everybody to let you know what's going on. John has reported that the jobs that we have out on River Road West and Copperthwaite are essentially done, 99% of the way there. We've got a little bit of cleanup work coming later this week. The parking lot is being prepared and is ready for paving at the Pluckerman Schoolhouse facility. So we've got the sub grounds, if you will, ready to go. We're just gonna, I think we're bringing in the macadam asphalt this week or perhaps next, but that's essentially done as well. And Judy, I don't know whether John had a chance to mention to you about the return to work. He asked me to just raise with you the divider that you need him to build. He's not going to be able to get to it until next week.
Right, he's working on it. We had initially discussed potentially returning to work on the 13th. That may be delayed to either the 15th or possibly the 20th. So I said, why don't we just start on a Monday? We'll go with the 20th. We have all the other measures in place with signage, and we have X's on the floor. We're going to bring the public in the front door and out the back side door. You know, one door, out another door. We have other stanchions to keep people separated. So we're almost there.
Great.
So.
So that's DPW. Don't have an update for Historic Pres. The last meeting was canceled. I don't think we had a presentation, or the one that was on was going to be canceled, so we didn't have that meeting. And that's all I've got, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
Mayor, thank you. Good evening, all. First thing for rec, summer camp opening day today. Parents are at Bedminster cheering, I'm sure. Don't know if anybody's seen Robin, if she survived the first day, but just want to give her a shout out. Oh, she's here? Good.
She's in the office.
All right. Well, I just want to give her a shout out because, you know, let's face it, the governor's executive order and the guidance from the state came down about 3 weeks ago. And she spent days, nights, and weekends kind of preparing for this day. It's amazing what she's done in such a short time. I just wanted to thank her. And I'm sure all the parents of kids in summer camp are expressing their thanks as well. I'll get some stats from her, and we'll provide registration numbers for camp at the next meeting. Our rec committee is working on a outdoor movie night. Bill Rosen is leading that effort and coordinating his activities with JVH. So I want to thank him for that work, and details to follow. Board of Ed, as we mentioned before, we're supposed to have the graduation tonight. Been postponed, haven't gotten a new makeup date. The next Board of Ed meeting is on the 16th. And then IT, we had a subcommittee meeting to discuss equipment upgrades to support the court, training, as well as backup services. So we're going to make some investments against those. We're also looking at legacy telco expenses to figure out if there are opportunities for cost reduction. And I guess since we've been doing COVID updates as part of our subcommittee reports, believe it or not, the last day of the food pantry was actually after the last day. That was after our last meeting. So I just want to give you a numbers update associated with that. After 10 weeks in operation, we received over 950 donations in total of food, personal necessities, and gift cards. We served a total of 666 families. We contributed 2 pallets of food, which is equivalent to 1,800 pounds of food, to the Somerset County Food Bank, who then could distribute it to other area food pantries as well as those in need. And we shared our remaining pantry bags with our sister food pantries in both Peapack Gladstone as well as in Burnsville. Obviously, as I've said before, this was a team effort between everybody on the Township Committee, the Township staff, and our amazing and ever generous residents. And I want to thank them all one last time from the bottom of my heart. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you. And you've resituated since we last spoke.
Mhm. Oh, no. Oh, no.
He's here.
He's here. It wasn't working, so he moved spots.
I moved spots, and guess what? It's still slowed up. So now I'm in the conference room, and it still was acting up. But Colin, I did hear the recitation of the food pantry. It's always great to hear those numbers. And yes, Robin is in. She gave me an update that she already received many messages from parents who were just happy to get their kids doing something, and kids were clearly happy to get out of the house. So
That's great.
So that was a good day for Camp Bedminster and the rec department. Colin, was there anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Renee, I think you're next.
Yeah, Renee, I think you're next, and Colin will be talking about the IT.
Well, obviously some additional upgrades are required.
Okay, so for the Environmental Committee, the July 1st meeting was canceled. There wasn't anything going on. But as common this time of year, one of the residents expressed a concern about the condition of our AT&T pond out on 202, 206. As you guys know, the pond is treated yearly for overgrowth of plant life, but it seems like this spring and summer, there might be greater overgrowth than in previous years. So John Mans has been in contact with Brian Zarate from the New Jersey Fish and Wildlife to see what other options EC and the town might have to help with this situation. Judy, do you know if John sent a close-up picture? Because I know I read regular pictures, but Brian wanted to see in particular what the...
No, the pictures we had were from a resident.
Right, all right. I didn't know if John had gone out because Brian was looking for something close up.
Yeah,
Email.
John's on vacation this week. I could ask one of the guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
Renee, the resident has been, pretty on top of this over the last, I'd say, 2 years or so. The issue that they're complaining about is not the surface algae, but it's actually all of the vegetation, I guess you call it, that's underneath the water.
Right.
So they're looking to know what our consultant / service can do about that. It's not just getting rid of the surface algae.
Yep, and in John's email, they did address that, so Brian knows that as well. He just wanted to know what the stuff was that you could see. So they'll be attacking both problems. Okay, so JVH had a teleconference meeting June 17th to discuss their upcoming fundraising events. And of course, with the COVID-19 constraints, it's going to make some of these a little difficult. So they decided, first of all, to move the October into October. That'll give them some time to change the format. They were thinking perhaps an online auction instead of meeting at the house. They were starting to work on things like the sponsor request for Fall Fest. Again, I'm not sure how far they're going to go with that kind of planning. I guess it depends on what direction the state is giving us. And then lastly, Colonial Christmas, they're kind of reimagining it to be a one-day event with virtual programs, and then maybe taking the vendors outside into a tent so that they can do social distancing. And if they can, set up a one-way flow of visitor traffic through the house so people can still come in and socially distance. And that's about it. Their next meeting will be September 19th. They don't meet during the summers. And that's all I have. Oh.
So while I have not been booted, let me go real quick. Land Use Board, Bedminster Farms, they will be continuing their application for the subdivision on Lamington Road. And that's what we've got scheduled for Land Use Board. I believe the relocate application on Main Street will be continued later on. I believe maybe carried into August. Farmers Market is once again going well. We've been doing a clicker count, see who's coming in. We had, oh, Colin, I'm getting the note that my internet connection is unstable. I'm not sure if that's what if there's an outage in the reboot, as you had indicated, but just giving you warning. So we've had what we all believe it to be very high numbers and consistent traffic throughout the entire Farmers Market Day. All the folks coming are wearing masks and they are honoring the social distancing direction that we have established over at the Farmers Market. So just a really good opportunity for everyone to get out there. And this Saturday we'll have Burnt Mill Cider Company, established by Bedminster's own very own John Coates. So he's been in business for a few, I guess about 2 weeks now, maybe I guess about a week and a half. And word of mouth is great, and social media is great, and it's really good to see a new business getting up and going and being established during this very difficult times. And all the reviews have been fantastic. And we welcome John and Burnt Mills Cider Company over to the farmers market. So it should be great. Ms. Sullivan, may we please have the administrator's report?
Yes, sir. As you know, the estimated property tax bills went out on June 26th, being due August 1 with a grace period to August 10th. We sent out notices to the residents that these, again, were estimated, and final bills with accurate information would be sent out in September. We've received a few calls of people that are just because the bills look totally different, being it's just for one quarter. But it's gone over pretty well, and payments are coming in pretty much as normal. The River Road West paving project, as Mr. Stevenson mentioned, is ongoing. You'll see signage. The contractor is out there. And the Share Municipal Court will be addressing shortly with the resolution. It did go down. The attorney handling this project is John Bruder, who's the PPAC attorney, but he's the one that actually wrote our original agreement. He's worked with Mr. Stevenson on this. He presented it to Judge Miller, who's the new assignment judge, and Judge Miller had a few very minor adjustments, I'll say, to the agreement. So the agreement has been recirculated to the 4 towns, and each town needs to readopt it one last time for final approval. So that's on for us tonight. We still have a target date to open the shared court August 1st, but it could be delayed till September 1st. We'll see. We hope not. And then we talked about the potential opening of Town Hall on July 20th. We hope to have all our safety measures in place by then. And all employees have been back now for 2 weeks to their regular schedule, but the building has not been open yet. But we still do a lot of business every day by appointment, and drop off and pick up of items for the public. We're also, with the additional usage of the parks and the hike and bike trail, we're going to use some of our Clean Communities money, grant money, and have a litter pickup along the hike and bike trail, all of them, and all the parks this coming Saturday, the 11th. So there's quite a squad of employees going out on Saturday from, I think, 8 to 2. So, and the mayor's messaging me that he's having a problem with Wi-Fi. The only suggestion I can make, Mayor, is maybe even move yourself into the office where Robin is, because that's where the Wi-Fi is the best. We have it all day.
You know, it seems, I mean, Colin was mentioning maybe that if there was an outage, the firewall may have rebooted and rebooted a little aggressively.
Okay. I do have an update of that I provided in your package. I'm not going to go over it now, but it shows you what other towns are doing as far as reopening. I gave you a little schedule of what the towns had so far. And then I also put in there an update of the New Jersey American Water intervention costs. We'll talk about that later on in the meeting under old business, but that is part of my report. That's all I have.
Thank you. We have a discussion on introduced ordinances scheduled for public hearing. We have none. We have 6 ordinances to introduce. So the first introduction for tonight is ordinance 2020-003, which, can you guys still hear me? Nope. Oh, this isn't working. No, I keep, let's see if I can do it from here. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear you.
I'm now where the plexiglass is going to be installed. Robin is over here. If you can see her, there. See her waving. Everyone wave back at you, Robin. So we have six ordinances to introduce. The first is ordinance authorizing township to accept a declaration of restriction from Robert Scully and Nancy Perisman for a portion of the property identified as lot 2407 in block 8 and lot 2407 in block 8Q Farm. That's at 1510 Black River Road. The public hearing for the ordinance is scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. The Scullys had approached me earlier this year. They were looking at putting a separate conservation land preservation restriction on the other part of the property. As you may remember, last year, they put a conservation easement on their main parcel. This ordinance would authorize us to accept, trying to get into a little bit better light, so I'm not in the dark. Is that better?
Yes, that's good.
So this ordinance would put a restriction on their adjacent parcel and would prevent that other parcel from being further divided, essentially preserving all the property they own on Black River Road. John, John Bellardo, you've had some discussion with their attorneys on the drafting of the easement, or I'm sorry, the restriction that is attached to that ordinance?
We have, and we've approved the form of the restriction attached to the ordinance, Mayor.
Okay, so that is, in your eyes, that's a fully formed restriction ready to be approved when we have the public hearing?
It is, and as soon as we have the public hearing, then we can move forward with recording the restriction. I've been working with Michael Rothblatz, who we've worked with in the past on numerous matters, including an earlier matter with Mr. Scully and Ms. Peretzman.
Great, thank you. So we'll have the public hearing get into a little more detail about those elements of the restriction at the public hearing. Ordinance 2020-004. This ordinance authorizes the purchase of motor vehicles and heavy equipment for the Public Works Department as part of the regular vehicle replacement program at a total amount not to exceed $100,000. Public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ordinance 2020-005. This ordinance authorizes appropriating $158,637 for the Capital Road Management Plan in Bedminster Township. Public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ordinance 2020-006. This ordinance authorizes appropriating $41,700 for various equipment for the police department in Bedminster Township. Public hearing for this ordinance scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ordinance 2020-007. This ordinance authorizes appropriating $31,000 for the 2020 capital plan for street lighting upgrades and solar speed signs in Bedminster Township. The public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. Ordinance 2020-008. This ordinance authorizes appropriating $10,000 for the 2020 capital plan for technology, computer equipment in Bedminster Township. The public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for July 20, 2020 at 7 p.m. So those are the 6 ordinances we are introducing tonight. Not sure if I should have had them voted on for introduction individually, but if no one minds and John Bellardo doesn't interfere, can we have a motion to introduce all those ordinances?
So moved.
That's acceptable.
All right.
Second.
So that would Colin and Doug. Give the
Okay,
motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all.
Thank you. Public hearing of ordinances, we have none. Consent agenda. We have 5 items on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the resolutions on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have 3 resolutions not on the consent agenda. And the first resolution not on the consent agenda is Resolution 2020-059, authorizing the submission of a grant application to NJTOT Local Aid Program 2021 for the Black River Road Section 2 project. As you may recall, this is a resolution that we carried over from our last meeting because at the time we did not have the engineer's estimate for what was actually associated with that project. Ms. Sullivan, do you want to walk through the estimate that's attached?
I would be happy to if I gave myself a copy. I attached my copy to the resolution and you have it.
Okay, resolution 50.
Everyone should have it in their book though, or in
Yeah.
their, what was sent out to them. Let me see, I might have it too.
So our grand total for this, I take it this is from Paul's office, yeah, signed by Paul,
Yes.
is $378,456.38. And this is, let's see. The construction cost is estimated at $299,000, $29,000 for contingencies.
Yeah, normally we get approximately 300,000 for a project of this type. And usually the engineering is not part of that grant. So the engineering is separate. So we would be paying for the engineering portion primarily, and any little bit of
Any-
extra if there is a little bit.
Right. Any further questions or comments regarding Resolution 2020-059?
No.
Seeing none, may we have a motion to approve that resolution for the submission of a grant application?
So moved.
Second.
This would be also a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next resolution is 2020-068. This resolution authorizes the reappointment of a temporary qualified purchasing agent. And once again, that would be reappointing Sarah Hausman.
If you remember last
Any,
year, when Trina left us, we're allowed to have a temporary QPA for a period of 2 years, and 1 year increments. Initially, I was appointed as a temporary until Sarah Hausman attended her classes. She's actually in a class now and has 1 more class after that before she takes her test. She hopes to be completed by the fall and taking the test in the fall. So she will be within the timeline.
How's everything working out with
Very
her?
well.
How's everything working out with her as the intern?
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. She loves it. She really enjoys it, and she's doing a great job.
Great.
I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah,
Went quick.
yeah.
A lot has happened in that year, Colin.
Yes, it has.
May we have a motion to approve Resolution 2020-068?
So moved.
Moved. Ooh.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
So this may be the 3rd time we're actually hearing a version of this resolution. Hopefully this is the latest and last
Hopefully.
iteration of Resolution 2020-070. While the number may be new, the resolution itself is something we're all familiar with, which is authorizing the adoption of the shared municipal court agreement with P-PAC Gladstone Borough, Burnsville Borough, and Bernards Township. So just a quick update. So yes, this is I believe, the third time that we've looked at this agreement, and this time the agreement is reflecting changes that Judge Miller had recommended. And since he's a judge, his recommendations are probably a bit more than a recommendation. Ms. Sullivan, do you just want to run through any of the significant provisions?
Primarily, there was an addition of the court administrator actually was listed in the agreement. They also list kind of a list of the different positions that are within the court, being the court, 2 deputy court administrators and 2 violations clerks for a staff of 5. They also listed a number of items that the Berners Township Court Administrator must transfer here to Bedminster with all their correspondence, all their tickets, just a list of all their different supplies and computer systems that have to be kind of inventoried and included in the agreement. They also need to transfer their banking information, although they keep their own bank account, just that needed to be reflected in the agreement as well. And just that there's a security agreement, a security plan that each of the towns updates annually, that needs to be also completed. And lastly, there's a checklist that we have to comply with. Basically, there's things such as proper signage has to be implemented, appropriate room for file cabinets, office space for all the employees. There's a checklist that we have to comply with, and we're working on that now. So it was just listing a lot of the things that we knew already, but Miller wanted to have in there.
Yep, I describe it as housekeeping stuff that the court wants to see.
Hey, Doug, you didn't see anything in it that?
No, the only thing that I saw in there that was I just didn't know is we supply the books, the summons books to the police officers.
Yes, the police officers get them from the court.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
So.
That was it. Yeah, the rest of it, everybody for your benefit. The rest of it was just things like, we will provide adequate space to house the files, et cetera, that's coming over from Berners. It was just tightening up of a couple things that the judge wanted to see. Nothing critical at all.
Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, may we have motion to approve Resolution 2020-070.
So moved.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so hopefully that's it, and we don't see this resolution or any other form of it again. Although I hear the Burnsville News is reporting that there's another town that has indicated some prospective interest, but you'll have to read the papers to see the article. May we have a motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices?
So moved.
I'll second.
And one last roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you. Please come by and sign your stuff.
Discussion items. Are there any matters that Township Committee members want to put on for discussion and public input?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Any items for new business? The one thing that I will talk about for new business is at the last meeting, we read into the record the resolution that the Somerset County freeholders had adopted following the wake of George Floyd's death and the discussions about race relations and relations between police and community. And we certainly did not intend to read that resolution into the record and then be done with it. I've had discussions with the chief and with various members of the Township Committee and with other township staff about how we can have a meaningful discussion. And just stay tuned because I'm still working with some folks to put something together, and we'll be discussing that issue in subsequent meetings. And with that, let's move to old business unless anyone else has anything else for new business. Okay, let's go to old business COVID-19 emergency. I think we've covered a fair amount of this, both in the numbers. Bedminster remains at 41 total confirmed cases, 5 fatalities. By now, I think we've already talked about the resource material that we've put together for Bedminster residents and for actually anyone else who wants to use those resources.
Mayor, we're losing your audio.
We're losing your audio. Do you have papers in front of your thing?
Sorry.
Okay.
No.
Okay, you're good.
Just,
All right.
just tap the side of your PC.
So it is, the information is coming out once again fast and furious, and we've been adopting and making the appropriate amendments to our resource guide as appropriate. So it continues to be updated. Let's just move on to short-term rentals. Once again, I think we're probably a little preoccupied with more important things at this time. So I doubt there's an update on short-term rentals or engine braking. Pluckman Park, the one thing I will say about Pluckman Park is when we last left, it was the issue of the painting. Doug, do you know if anything ever happened with the discussions with HPC on the painting, on the paint colors?
I don't believe they ever came before the committee. I'll check with that. They were supposed to have come, okay, and then at the next meeting they didn't come, and then the next one was canceled. So, good point. Let me circle back to the powers that be there and see what the deal is.
Okay, and maybe if Joe Haggerty needs to make a phone call, we can keep that moving. JCP&L outages.
Mayor, we just got an update during this meeting that there's 31 people in Bedminster who are out and crews are on scene repairing based on the storms that we had this afternoon. Don't have an ETA for full power back onto all those residents, but it's being addressed. Also want to let people know that our JCP&L rep, Carol Bianchi, will be at the farmers market a week from this Saturday on the 18th to address any concerns, comments that residents may have. She can see them face to face or mask to mask as the case may be, but she will be on site at the farmers market.
We will be selling tomatoes that day. I just want to know what residents can pick up.
We only have fresh tomatoes at the farmers market. You need the rotten ones really in order to have them used as you know.
What was the date that she's coming?
The 18th.
So moving on to rotten tomatoes from your utilities. Let's go to the discussion with New Jersey American Water and their rate increase and the Bedminster-led coalition challenging the rate increase. Mr. Hickey.
That's a great intro, Mayor. Since our last meeting, Raritan Township has joined the cabal. So now there's a total of 6 municipalities in addition to Bedminster who are intervening in the fight against New Jersey American Water. We can still continue to reach out to Bernards Township, Branchburg, and Hillsborough. We thought after the initial discussion with New Jersey American Water that occurred in early June that they might rethink their strategy about levying such a large rate increase in the midst of a pandemic, but apparently that's not the case. So initial testimony was due from the interveners last Thursday, July 2nd. That was filed, and as they say, stay tuned.
So Colin, can you just give us, I mean, you and I know this, and I think the other committee members, but the full towns that are participating in the challenge.
So we have, in addition to ourselves, Burnsville, Bridgewater, Far Hills, Peapack Gladstone, Raritan Borough, and Raritan Township. So it's and obviously as more towns join the fray, you know, we all realize additional savings in terms of the covering the cost of both the outside counsel as well as the economic analysis that needs to be done, which we've collectively estimated to be around $75,000 in total.
And Ms. Sullivan has had constant communication with two other sizable townships who will be considering joining, and perhaps another third will be in that same position of considering joining sometime in July. So
Right.
once again, just as we said before, stay tuned. Township Committee comments. Committeeman Stevenson.
You're on mute.
Thank you. Very quickly, just wanted to say congratulations to all the graduates, both from the high school and for the 8th grade. Wish them the best of luck in these uncertain times, but hopefully they all feel that they're well equipped to handle whatever life takes them, and certainly getting a little lesson in that right now. But unfortunately, the graduation didn't go off today like it was planned, but wishing everybody very good wishes for the future, and you know, best is yet to come, as they say, but that's it.
Thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to echo Committeeman Stevenson's comments. 2020 is shaped up obviously to be a year unlike any other. Congratulations to all those graduates. Their accomplishments are very impressive, and just want to reach out and let them know that we're all thinking about them even during the troubling times. Just want to congratulate Committeeman Stevenson and you, Mayor, for the shared court arrangement. I mean, it's hard enough to get 4 people to agree to something. You guys have gotten 4 municipalities to come to agreement for something that will significantly save every town money, expense, effort. It's quite a job and quite an accomplishment. Thank you both for championing that effort. Reminder, tomorrow, primary day, Republican, Democrat, go out and vote. Vote by mail, or if you're a Bedminster resident, come to the town hall and you can vote provisionally tomorrow. So it is important to exercise your right to vote. And Mayor, I understand finally we have a birthday tonight. Your daughter, Leah, happy 19th. We got to make sure we'll keep the comments short so you can get home.
Very nice.
Yes, happy birthday to Leah.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Colin. Committeewoman Mareski.
Just real quick, thanks to all who volunteer their time at our farmers market. Thanks to our vendors. Thanks to all our visitors who stop by to shop and socialize while socially distancing. And congratulations to Leah and to all the 8th grade graduating. And Mayor, you don't look old enough to have a daughter Leah's age.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you. It must be the change of room with better lighting in here. And you can hear Robin laughing in the background. So for my comments, I just, once again, for the Bedminster Township School, the 8th grade graduation. So they've had as many graduation ceremonies and attempted ceremonies as we've had passing the shared court arrangement with Bernards Township. There will be, my understanding is there will be another go at the graduation ceremony. That'll be, I think was it the 26th? I think it's the
22nd.
22nd? Okay.
I think so.
so
Don't hold it. That's a maybe.
So hopefully better weather and the parents and everyone else can participate and the families can celebrate the graduation as they move on to high school. And also, just as Committeeman Stevenson, also congratulations to all the high school graduates as well. And look, the COVID situation is ever changing. It is moving a mile a minute. We're doing well. We're not doing well. Other states are doing better than us. We're doing better than other states. But one of the things that we can do, and I know we've all said this before, is exercise common sense, maintain social distancing. I think it was Committeeman Stevenson who said, we've got few weapons in this fight, but social distancing is first and foremost the way to get this, to get through this. And just a reminder, social distance, wear your mask when you're going to be out in public venues. And the moment we start pushing that to the side is when, frankly, we're going to see numbers come up. And my guess is as we go through the summers, as we go through this summer, numbers will continue to fluctuate. Hopefully those are temporary, and hopefully the folks who come down are safe. And, but once again, we have to anticipate what's coming. The numbers will continue to fluctuate. Things are opening up, and as things open up, questions, concerns, and people, whether this is the rule or that's the rule, just everyone maintain good common sense. Don't get into fights when you need to on social distancing, and let's stay healthy and well. We do have an executive session. We will not be taking any formal action after the executive session. So we will adjourn tonight's meeting, and the Township Committee will resume an executive session. So may we have a motion to adjourn tonight's Township Committee meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We'll see you in exec.
So go to the other login.